YouTube channel. My name is Lauren and I am here today to do a space tour, but a student edition. So I've got my friend Morgan over here from Whitco Creative, and then Matt McDermott is one of the student ministers here at Storyline Students. And so we're going to talk about just how this space was designed, the thought process that went into it, and then how it's used on a week-to-week basis. So Morgan, why don't you start by talking about the exterior of the building? I know this is a unique space. Storyline is in a strip mall. And so talk about the unique maybe challenges you experienced with the outside of the building.
Yeah, so a few things about this space is that it was acquired halfway through our project when we did the kids space. And so it was this exciting addition to the building. And we were going to do a full renovation. It's directly next door to the big lobby space. And so one of the key things was we wanted to make sure it was identifiable from the parking lot so that when parents were dropping off kids, especially for the first time, they felt comfortable about where they were taking their kids to. So there's a big student sign on the building. And then the other design piece that we needed to focus on, this is a south-facing set of windows. It gets a lot of light, and this room gets cooking. So we wanted to do some frosting on the outside to help cut down the heat in here, but we wanted to make sure that it still looked cool from the outside. So we used window frosting in a unique pattern with this like dot grid that you'll see throughout this space to kind of help create a cool aesthetic from the outside.
Cool. Yeah. That's such an interesting, like one, you figured out that this was a south-facing building, but also you created a cool aesthetic that even from the outside, you start to get the feel of the building. Yeah. So before we head into the space, I want to talk about this focal wall. So if you have watched the Storyline Kids Space Tour, which we'll link the video here below if you haven't watched it, but this wall may look familiar to you. So we're going to talk about how you created this wall as like a callback to what those incoming sixth graders just experienced in Storyline Kids.
Yeah, so in the 4th and 5th grade room in Storyline Kids, we wanted that room to feel like the place to be. So it has an older, cool kid aesthetic, and we did these massive oversized stickers like you would put on your Nalgene bottle. And so those kids are now graduating into using this space, and this we wanted to feel like a little bit familiar to them. So you have this new student logo because they're students now, but these stickers, this concept is familiar to them because they saw it in the 5th grade room. That's also the case with this line pattern that you're seeing on the wall here. That was done in the kids space as well, but it's done in like an edgier, kind of cooler way in this space. So we're doing those things to like tie the spaces together, but wanting to make this space feel like older and cooler for sure.
Yeah, more cool for sure. Okay, so now I'm going to turn our attention to these gorgeous barn doors. Now, Matt, I want to talk to you about how do you utilize these barn doors? Obviously, the front doors are right here, but then you have this second set of doors. I would love for you to share kind of how you use maybe the big space, this welcome space, and do you open those doors? Do you close those doors? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we have everyone check in here in this space, and we have the barn doors open just as our middle school students can walk in and just see the party that is happening inside. They see the excitement and they want to get in right away. So we typically have our check-in station here, and we have a greeting team that greets them outside and inside to check in, and then they can go right straight through. And whenever we have our teaching time, we close the doors for more private, intimate space. When we have our worship time, the doors are closed for intimate space. In the spring, we had middle school here on Sunday morning, and we needed breakout rooms. And in the space, there's no real extra rooms. And so we wanted to divide some space and to have small groups meet in here. And so they would meet kind of in an oval. And to have some space that was just their own, we would close the barn doors to have a private conversation. So now our leaders actually utilize this if they need to pray with a student during worship or during teaching, or need to have like a little bit more of a private conversation. These doors are closed. They can walk around the back and being here. And it's really it's not that bad for a conversation, even in private. So it's really helpful to have the barn doors open whenever we need people come in, and then also to close them whenever we need some privacy.
That's awesome. That's a great way of just multi-use space,
Yeah,
which is fun. All right, so now we've moved basically across this welcome area, and we're standing in front of two kind of focal points that the students experience when they walk in the building. And so Morgan, I'm gonna have you talk about these two walls. There's one for high school and middle school, and just talk about maybe the purpose behind it. What was the intention? Why did you create this? And some fun things about this design piece.
Yeah, so when we met with the high school, middle school team, when we were first concepting this project, they had some bulletin boards in their existing space that they used a lot for announcements, but we wanted to make sure that there was specific space for high school and specific space for middle school. Since they have different events and different gatherings, it was a spot for them to throw up pictures from things that they did, as well as announcements for things upcoming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's great. So Matt, there's obviously no announcements on here.
That's
so
right, yeah.
So talk to us how you guys are using this right now.
We do use it for announcements. I just want to say, we do use it. Our interns, though, they are often putting on different announcements and different pictures on our high school and middle school boards. But also, we use these as an opportunity for initiatives. And so we're currently in a prayer initiative for our students to pray for one friend so they can share the gospel with them. And so they often come back here, or we are referencing the people that are on their sticky notes on their boards. Yeah. And so we spent some time kind of utilizing the space and utilizing these items for different purposes, for the calendars, for pictures, and then also for these sticky notes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Some things that I love about these walls is, one, they're magnetic, which is really fun because it's just an easy way to hang things. But also, if you have a space that doesn't have a lot of wall space, these are really great because they're obviously not on a wall, but it looks like a wall. And Morgan was telling me that this just helps block the crazy sunlight that comes in the afternoon. So this design is not only intentional for announcements and things like that, but there's much more purpose behind these, which I think is really cool. Yeah. So,
and I think the fun thing about this is you're starting to get an ode here to the overall theme of this space. So you might be picking up on some of the climbing gear that's hanging these walls, as well as this wall to the right of us. So this was kind of us setting the tone for the space. It's this modern abstracted climbing wall, and we used climbing rope to hang light fixtures. And so this was just a fun way to set the tone in addition to these pieces here for what kids are about to experience when they go into the larger space.
Yeah. So Matt, this being a student space, well, I guess you can't. I was going to ask you if you've had any students try and climb this wall.
Yes, and we tell them to get down right away. Yeah.
That's so funny. So what do you use this space? It looks like there's announcements here, maybe some parent resources.
Yeah, so originally this space was set up for a check-in space, but we utilized the check-in over by the barn doors. And so we utilize this spot now for some handouts, things for parents to come in so they can check out the back, be in here, and have resources here by the wall. And then just any other supplies that we need, either for check-in, it kind of gets here during the week so that other people don't utilize them. So we have a Bible reading plan over there, our normal handouts, philosophies of what we're doing for parents and students to see.
Yeah, that's great. All right, let's head into the big space. So now we are in the student room, in kids' terms, large group room. And we're in this really cool corner of the room that obviously looks like a super cool hangout. So Matt, talk to us about how you guys utilize this space and what kind of the vibe is over here.
Yeah, so we have pizza every single Sunday night for our middle schoolers over here in this space. So as they walk in, they can grab the pizza, and they're usually sitting down on each of the tables. They're sitting down in the chairs. There's games here underneath that they are here playing cards or other games like that. And then they're just hanging out. They're spending time here with their friends, getting to see their leaders, catch up for the week while eating pizza.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
A dream.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Morgan, talk to us about there's a lot of design elements in this space. So I would love for you to walk us through maybe like how you guys picked out certain things. What did the process look like as you guys were creating this little corner?
Originally, this corner was supposed to be the gaming zone. That was a big thing. They wanted the kids to have like a video game area, but we were really struggling with all these windows to figure out where do we hang TVs and how are you not staring like right into bad backlighting. And so we kind of reimagined it as this lounge space and built these like backer walls to still let light in, but allow this to be a fully functional area where you can lean up against it and you have this big bench sheet that wraps around. And they wanted a spot where during the week they could meet with students, where they could have pizza, and where kids could come in early and do homework if they wanted to, but just like a space you want to be.
Yeah.
And you want to sit and hang for a while. And like you said, it sets a vibe. So we're really thrilled with how this turned out. We did a lot of custom carpentry in this area and then tried to just use some really vibrant, fun, dynamic, collected finishes to set the tone. Yeah. Another goal for this space was to create a vibe that felt similar to where students hang out outside of church, and that's a coffee shop. It's a cool third space for them. And so we wanted to create that vibe here so that it made students want to invite their friends to this like cool coffee shop kind of feeling lounge space that was designed for specifically for them. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I want to kind of take note. If you, up on the shelf, there's a ton of really unique knick-knacky things, fake plants, books, and all of these things that really tie this space together. And so I would love to know kind of how you guys found these things, how you came up with these ideas, like putting a skateboard with a plant and a globe, like kind of talk through just this piece of the aesthetic that really ties in the theme, but also brings the vibe.
Yeah. So we added this like tall shelf up here, mostly because we wanted to help bring your eye up in this space. But you can't have a shelf if you don't like stock it with some things. So we thought this was a great spot to reinforce this like outdoor climbing theme, but in a playful way, like gathered objects that you would have over the years that kids would collect. So we have some climbing rope and flashlights and old Polaroids and camping lanterns and books and whatnot. And that's kind of all mixed in with this fun climbing rope lighting again that you're saying. But we sourced these things from locally here in Denver, the Brass Armadillo, which is this awesome indoor flea market. And we just spent an afternoon there walking around and looking for things that felt fun and vintage and a little bit playful, but also brought some fun pops of color to this space.
All right, so now we're on the stage. This is where we are. Matt, do you guys have live worship and students every Sunday?
Yeah, every single week we have a live band here. It's awesome. Yeah,
That's
awesome.
super cool.
Yeah.
So as you can see, there's like this super cool stage backdrop here that I'm gonna brag because it was handmade by the Whitco creative team. But Morgan, I want you to speak to kind of what was the design intention behind this? Obviously, this is incredibly cool looking. So talk to us about kind of how you created this.
Yeah, we were tasked with coming up with a backdrop for the stage that kind of complemented the theme of the space. We don't want the space to feel too young or too much like it's leaning towards one age group. So something that felt inclusive of a multi-purpose space that could be used for many different things, but that created visual texture. And any opportunity we have to incorporate a lighting element into something is one we will take. And so we created this, this dimensional frame here that we attached pipe and climbing rope and just lots of fun climbing fasteners. So you're getting this great visual texture. You're getting a little bit of shine. You're getting these really cool backlit light bulbs. So they're like dipped on the front so they shine light back. And our hope was that this is something that would just kind of stand the test of time. It's not seasonal, but it looks great behind a speaker when you're on camera. And it really helps reinforce the theme of this space.
That's awesome. So are these colors of the ropes brand colors, or are those just, did you just pick those? Well, the green matches the logo at the front.
Yes. So we did try and pick colors that complemented the space. So you will see a lot of that vibrant green that we used in here.
Yeah.
But then just colors that we felt like complemented that well.
Yeah. Okay, I have one more question. Did you hand dip these light bulbs?
No, you can buy them on Amazon.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, no. But they do create a really cool aesthetic, and we use them here as well as in the lounge space, just to kind of illuminate the wall, but not be like bright light in your face. Yeah.
That's so smart. What a fun wall. All right, we've got a couple more spaces to hit, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, so here we are. This is probably one of my favorite walls in the entire student space. But Matt, I want you to talk about this wall and maybe how you reference this wall, how you use this space. What does this look like for you guys?
Yeah, so this is our missions wall. And so at Storyline, we believe that mission is one of our values at our church, where we say the good news is for the world. So we share Jesus with our neighbors and the nations. And this, for students, kind of represents who our neighbors are in the Arvada area. And so there are 20 middle school and high schools in our area. And we did some calculations. My coworker Morgan, she calculated that there's 14,000 middle school and high school students in the Arvada area. Wow. So she kind of just started to hear what schools are going on, and we're going to pray for those students. And then it kind of became this 14,000 number, which in Colorado, we have 14ers, these huge, massive mountains. So our prayer is that God would move mountains. Every time we see the mountains, we pray for our schools and things like that. Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Morgan is famous for being the 14,000 girl, because this is one of her heartbeats. It's like, hey, we want to pray for the 14,000 students in Arvada. And this represents that. So students can see their schools represented by these magnets, and they're kind of on this map of the Arvada area. And it's just a really cool spot. So we consider the schools that they're going to, their friends that are in their neighborhoods and everything like that. It's just a really cool, other youth pastors see this space and they're like, this is cool. This is awesome. Yeah. They want something like this for their own space. So we love it.
And I bet it's really fun to have students walk in here for the first time and say, that's my school. Yeah. Or that's they can see themselves on this wall, which I think is really fun. And even to know oh, maybe I'll see some kids from my school here at Students. So we're going to talk about some of the design elements of this wall specifically.
Yeah. Well, we loved getting that prompt from the student team here. That missions was such a big part of who they are. And so we really wanted to highlight that. And this wall is directly across from the entrance. So it's really the first thing that you see and a big focal point in this space. So we accented it with a bold color, and we called out missions right up top. And then, we used this magnetic material so that they could stick things to this, these school magnets, as well as putting pictures. This is missions outside of the Arvada area, but they wanted a spot to highlight missions trips that kids were going on and make sure that was represented in the space. But beyond just doing a big bulletin board on this wall, we wanted this to feel like it had presence in this room. And so we had this big piece fabricated. So it's a lighting element, it has storage, and then it's also a bench. So at one point there was a big ping pong table here, and this was a spot where kids could sit and talk while other people were playing. And there was storage underneath for ping pong paddles and whatnot, but it still serves as a great seating area now. And so it's mounted to the wall. It's also up on feet on the floor, so it's still easy to clean around here. But we think it brings warmth to the space, as well as speaking to the heartbeat of this student ministry.
Yeah, we love that. Multi-purpose spaces, serving so many elements. I love how you and your team have thought through all of this. So let's head over to this corner, which is every student's favorite corner, the gaming corner. All right, so here we are in our last corner of the student space, and this is the gaming space. Matt, how do you use this space on Sunday mornings or Sunday evenings?
Gaming. So our students come here, the TVs are on, the games are already on, and they just flock here. And so there's only 2. I want more. I want to kind of have more, because it is such a focal point for our students to come in, to hang out, to sit on the chairs, and just to play video games for about 10 or 15 minutes. We went old school with some N64s and just like games that they don't know and that aren't internet connected, that they don't have to add anything else on. And so it's just like they can be here, they can be present, and it's just a great space to hang out.
Yeah, that's nice that you can have this space, but also I think that's really unique to think not internet connected.
Yeah.
I think most people don't do that. They like, what's the latest and greatest? And it's like Xbox, and you have to have a login and you have to be on the internet, but to not be on the internet is probably really why.
We had those, and because we thought the exact same thing. Oh, students want to be playing the games that they know, that they're playing at home. And then we found that they were throwing on their own accounts, and they were like doing other things with them. They were like, we actually want this space to be utilized for as many people as possible, not just you. And so we thought, hey, what's the best thing that we could do? And that's an old school gaming setup.
That's so smart. Okay, Morgan, talk to us about how you guys created this space, what you think of when you're creating gaming spaces in other church environments. Like, how do you guys think through these spaces?
It's a space for so much personality in your room. Like Matt said, kids are going to flock to this spot. And so for us, this was an opportunity to like pull in some really fun furniture finishes and get creative with some crates and make this like divider wall between the 2 spaces. There's not a lot of room here, but we wanted to maximize the number of kids who could sit and play or sit and watch someone play, so that this really was a gathering spot. So we did this like mirrored setup where we have 2 gaming areas back to back, divided by this crate wall that we literally just built with zip ties and nuts and bolts and crates. And it has worked really great. It brings some color over to this space. And then we sourced some just really fun furniture. These pieces here were primarily sourced from Urban Outfitters, which a lot of people don't know is a great place. They have like an apartment section on their website that has some kind of fun, youthful style furniture that's not at a crazy price point. And then we ground these spaces with some fun rugs. And that's like a great way to bring color and personality into a student space, is with some inexpensive rugs. And they're gonna get trashed, and in 2 years you replace them. And it feels like an easy way to like bring personality into a room, as well as to help define a space.
So another one of my favorite pieces about this space is that the gaming systems and the consoles and the remotes, I clearly am not a gamer, but anyways, those things are tucked away. And so when this space is a multi-purpose space, when there's been adults in here or our college ministry, you can still sit here and it doesn't feel like you're in a gaming center or like in an arcade. And so I just love the design pieces of this to make it feel like, yes, students love this and they use this and this space was designed with them in mind, but also adults can sit here too and not feel like they're like sitting in a middle school boys' room. Yeah. All right, friends, well, that brings us to the end of our Storyline Students Space Tour. We hope this was helpful for you as you are thinking about your own environments and your own spaces, thinking about middle schoolers and high schoolers, and just your students that you want to gather and continue to share the gospel with. So, Matt, anybody watching has questions for Matt about Storyline students, where to connect with him, how to ask him questions, more about what they're doing here at Storyline, where can people find you?
Yeah, they can find us on Instagram at Storyline Students on Instagram, and then also Student Ministry Circle. You can find me there as well. And then our email is just students@storylinechurch.net. We would love to connect with you.
Great. All right, Morgan, if people want to learn more about what you guys are doing to partner with churches to create really, really sweet and intentional spaces, how can they learn more about Whitco Creative?
Oh, we would love for you to check out our website at creativewit.co. Or if you have an email question for us, hello@creativewit.co would be a great way to connect with us.
Great. So we'll link all of those things in the description below. And as always, we love when you follow Kids Ministry Circle over on Instagram and Facebook at Kids Ministry Circle. And we hope to see you next time.